Dear guests and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, today we assemble in Kyiv Polytechnic Institute on the eve of the 234th anniversary of the American Declaration of Independence, where wisdom written by Thomas Jefferson established the cornerstone for all democratic civilization to come. It's our deep respect and honor to welcome today the direct follower of the Jefferson's democracy, the United States 67th Secretary of State, the Honorable Hillary Rodham Clinton. It's my great pleasure to introduce President Obama, Ambassador at Large for Global Women's Issues, Madam Melin Verville.
Thank you, Дуже дякую.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear friends. Dear friends, I'm very glad to be back in Ukraine. This time with the Secretary of the State, Hillary Clinton. And in my new capacity of the Ambassador at Large for Global Women's Issues. Ukraine takes a very special place in my heart. Both of my grandfathers and grandmothers were born in Ukraine. I grew in America and I learned from them about this wonderful country, and every day I learned more and more about its values and traditions. We have always hoped and prayed God for Ukraine to become free, democratic, and prosperous someday. From the very early childhood, I've sung "Ще не вмерла Україна," the anthem of this country. And today, Ukraine is free and democratic. And America remains with you, stands by. I have special honor to introduce a woman who for many years has been a leader and an advocate of democracy, women's rights, better life for all. In the status of the First Lady, then Senator, and now Secretary of the State, she has always cared for Ukraine. Madam Secretary Hillary Clinton, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, and I feel most welcome here. I want to thank the rector, my longtime friend and colleague, Melin Verville, but mostly I want to thank all of you associated with this prestigious Polytechnic Institute, whose history the rector briefly referenced, but whom I know was being modest, because the students here continue to earn great honors, win competitions and contests around the world, and are helping to build the future that Ukraine deserves to have. And I thank you for coming back from summer vacation to be here tonight. Over the years, I've been fortunate to visit Ukraine and made many friends, and have had a front row seat on history as I've watched the latest chapter in Ukraine's centuries-long story unfold. I'm pleased to be visiting Central and Eastern Europe and the Caucasus on this trip over our 4th of July holiday. Tomorrow I will be traveling to Poland for a meeting of the Community of Democracies, and then I will visit Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia. At every stop, I'm talking about the importance of openness, civil society, and the values that support democracy. And I cannot think of a better place to begin this trip than right here in Ukraine. Your country has made a remarkable journey, and you are still moving forward toward the future you deserve. When I first visited Ukraine in 1995, this was a newly independent state still emerging from decades of Soviet rule. Today, Ukraine is a proud democracy, and people, not only in my country, but in countries around the world, have found inspiration in your commitment to free and fair elections. But of course, elections are not the only marker for democracy. Elections are a necessary but insufficient action by the body politic in support of democratic self-rule. And tonight I want to talk briefly to you about our common future, because I believe that the United States and Ukraine are linked, not merely by common history, by Ukrainian Americans and family connections, but by common values. It was 234 years ago that our country proclaimed its independence in a declaration that one of my very first predecessors, Thomas Jefferson, was the principal author of. And some might say, well, what do the lessons of 234 years ago have to do with the challenges of the 21st century? I think that there is a common thread that runs through the history of humanity. And it is up to every generation to expand the circle of freedom and opportunity. Meeting the challenges of this century will require us to face the difficulties that lie ahead and to make tough choices. I know that the global economic downturn has taken a heavy toll on Ukraine. And even though there are signs of progress and recovery, more help is needed to ensure a sustainable economic future. I know there have been disputes over energy and the cost of energy that have literally played out in your daily lives. More needs to be done to make Ukraine energy independent. Ukraine has the resources that can be used to achieve that goal. I know that we face together global issues ranging from climate change to HIV/AIDS, food insecurity, and conflict. So no matter where one lives in the world today, there is always a temptation to get discouraged, dispirited, give up on the promise of democracy because it is a slow and sometimes messy process. But I'm here to urge you to do just the opposite, to work even harder to strengthen your democracy, to build your civil society, to empower your media, to ensure that your future here in Ukraine is as positive as you deserve it to be. Now, this work is never easy. I remember very well many years ago sitting where you're sitting and wondering about the challenges at that time facing my own country.